everyone, I'm Kristen. Welcome back to Mystifying Miracles. Glad to have you watch. If you like true stories, you might like these. They always have mysterious elements and also at least one miracle, usually more than that. So I'm going to go ahead and delve into this story here. Have you ever felt like a nudge in your spirit or your soul? Like you just had to do something or had to say something to somebody or be somewhere, any of those things, or all of the above. You really got to think, okay, what's that all about? Me personally, I believe that's usually, anyway, that's God giving you a nudge or me a nudge to, hey, I want you to do this or be here. That kind of happens in our story today that I'll be going over. And I just wanted to put it out there in the beginning that, hey, you never know when God may be using you or me to fulfill a purpose that may end up being somebody else's miracle. So I thought that was an interesting thought that just after reading over this one, that just kind of came on me, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna mention it because I thought that was important." But anyhow, we'll go ahead and get into it. Our story starts out in November of 1990, and our person in this story today, his name was Daniel Sheridan. He was a New York City firefighter, and he had actually just bought a new home, or it wasn't brand new, but it was new to him, and it really needed an insulation job. And so to save money, Daniel was doing that himself, Daniel had one more day left till he would finish up the insulation job in the house, and he was scheduled to work. So if you know firefighters, they're able to swap schedules out and trade off with each other. So that's what he did. He called up his buddy Joan and said, hey, can I swap with you? I really need to finish this insulation job. Well, John says, yeah, absolutely. So Danny's happy about that. He's like, yes, I finally get to be able to finish this job. I won't have to worry about that. This will be great. So later that evening, Daniel's relaxing at home and he gets a phone call. And it happened to be another coworker. And he knew about Daniel trading shifts with John, and he really needed that. You'd be doing me a large favor, Daniel, if I could just be the one to trade off shifts with John. And at first, Daniel kind of protested and was kind of, man, I already traded with him. I really need to finish this with my house. But he relented. He gave in. And, he was kind of in a sour mood the rest of the night and the next morning because he's like, to put off the rest of this insulation job, when you have your mind set on something. And anyway, so the next day at the firehouse, it was a calm morning. All was well, slow going thus far. And around noon, the alarms, the sirens in the firehouse start going off because they got a call. And it happened to be one that they received almost weekly at the same complex. It was a wooden housing unit, I guess apartment-like, where people lived, and it was old, and it was 3 blocks away. And again, they got false alarm calls on this weekly. So the guys were always kind of, like, here we go again, kind of a scenario, but they still have to take it seriously. So, they're getting in their gear. No one's too much in a hurry. I mean, they're hurrying, but they're, and so also, it said that, for this one particular call for this same housing unit that was, old and whatnot, the guys never got in full heavy gear because they knew. So a lot of times they would not put the heavy coat on or the helmet, all the full-time gear that firefighters use. So most of the guys did not do that day. And Danny wasn't going to either. But it's almost like he heard a voice inside that said, gear up. And so he was kind of like, that's strange, We never do that for this call that we always get. But it was so strong that it made him actually want to do it. So he did. He put the heavy coat on and he brought the helmet and the whole 9 yards, So even if the other guys didn't, he did. Danny that day also was assigned what was called second due. So they were the second set of guys on a scene, basically. So they didn't have to hurry as fast. I mean, they had to hurry, but, since they didn't have to be the first set team there. And so even though they didn't have to be as in a rush, something again told Danny, hop to it, basically, And so as soon as the truck pulled up to the wooden housing units, he kind of hurried, grabbed his gear and everything he needed and, hurried. And by this time, the other guys, the first due firefighters, they had already been there. And they, at this time, Daniel, I forgot to mention he goes by the name Danny, obviously, but Daniel, same guy. So Danny's heart's pumping, he's hurrying, he's flying off the truck, and the first due guys are down there and they cannot open the fire hydrant. So they've been struggling this whole time. So Danny, has his stuff on. He immediately goes up the stairs to try to, look for people that need help or to help the other guys, in his unit. So, he's going up, there's tenants fleeing down, there's other firefighters going up and down and all the confusion. And he finally gets up there to the 4th floor. And also he was, assigned that day, not just to the second due group, but he was also, it said, assigned the forcible entry man. And so that's the guy that busts down the doors. He's first to do all that. That's his job. And so Danny, got up there and he did. When he busted it through, he expected all these flames and smoke to come at him, but actually there was hardly any smoke and there were no flames. So he's like, all right. So he goes in and at the same time, he's wondering, where are the guys that are supposed to be with me? They weren't there with him yet. And what had happened is in the confusion, when everybody got there and, people flying every which way, the guys in his team that was supposed to be behind him actually went into a different building. It was the same building, but it was a different part of it. So it said in the confusion, they accidentally, had gone into the wrong part. Danny, he was all alone. And it also said, firefighters, they're always taught to go in pairs, at least. You don't ever want to be caught by yourself, because if you get trapped or hurt, there's no one to know about it or help you. But in this moment, Danny was alone. So Danny starts looking through the living rooms and just searching around. And as he's searching, all of a sudden, the fire had been on the 3rd floor. And so right below him. And at that moment, when he's searching, it said that, the guys on the 3rd floor, fire door had been opened. And when that happened, all these flames and smoke started pouring up the stairs and going up to where Danny was. So it started filling up with smoke pretty fast and flames, and it started getting pretty hot. So Danny's, at this point, again, heart pumping, he's searching bedrooms, he's not finding anybody that needs help or anybody that's trapped. So he's thinking, he's starting to sweat profusely because it's getting so hot. And he's thinking, okay, I got to get out of here before this floor collapses. Or, something else. Because at this point, he's still alone. He's still wondering, where are my guys? They, were still in the other part of the building. And just as Danny was about to leave and flee, something told him, wait. And he had this feeling of urgency and wait a second, why am I feeling that? So he immediately goes back to some of the bedrooms and he's looking, he's still not finding anything. He finally gets to one bedroom in one of the units and he thought he heard a cough, like maybe a child or baby's cough, but he's still not finding anything till he goes into another. And in the very far corner, there's actually a baby crib. And it's hard to see with all the smoke and everything now that's engulfed the fourth floor. The thing's going through Danny's mind as well. He's like, no one, it's so hot up here. Like, surely that wasn't a baby's cough I heard. A baby would never be able to live through these high temperatures and all this smoke that's been up here for a while now. But he's like, okay, something tells me to check that crib. He goes to the far corner. Sure enough, there is a newborn baby in it. So he grabs up the baby real quick, makes a run for it, busts through that door and starts, heading down. As he, got down to where all the people were waiting and the tenants and other people working, everybody starts to cheer, like all the tenants. And he's kind of, caught off guard, confused a bit as he's coming down the stairs with the baby. And a woman speaks up to him and says, oh, we've been praying for you. We knew you were up there, and we were praying that somebody would be able to grab that baby. It happened to be a 10-day-old infant, and the baby's name was Joel. So he had no idea, that people downstairs, tenants, I guess, that knew, about baby Joel, they were praying that he'd be found and knew that there was a firefighter up there. And they were like, we were praying for all these firefighters and that he'd be brought safely. And he was, which is amazing. And, after the fact, Danny thought about it. He was like, if I hadn't have switched shifts with the other coworker, because he was supposed to be off, remember, would baby Joel have even made it? Would he have been found? We just don't know, maybe, but maybe not. And also, the urgency he felt to, hey, gear up. He heard that, not audible, but just that sense, gear up, you need to. And he did. And if he hadn't, he wouldn't have been up to go all the way up there where he did, and because he wouldn't have had his helmet or heavy coat to endure all that smoke and flame. So there's another little miracle that he, obeyed that nudge to, hey, you need to do this. Baby Joel, he did spend a few weeks in ICU just to make sure all was well, but he was okay. He was fine. No lasting injuries or harm. So great ending to that. And again, I just want to end on it's not just miracles we experience ourselves, but to be aware when you feel those nudges or you feel like God is talking to you, to really obey and listen, because you could be part of somebody else's miracle. And if you were not, like in the story, if Danny would have not traded shifts or obeyed those nudges that he felt, more people could have died, baby Joel. And, so you just never know. It's life is I don't even know how to put it. It's a strange thing, but it's a cool thing when, you've done something like that and you feel that God is speaking to you and you made a difference in somebody else's life. So just really cool. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, we'll do this again with another news story. Thank you for watching, and please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you thought or if you'd heard this story before. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.